Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the second episode of the Radioactive Podcast. Today, we are joined by a wonderful mod author by the name of Jkruse05. I said it right this time, live on the cam.
You did say it right live.
I did. Author of some amazing mods that you've seen on the channel. You know, I constantly show endless praise for amazing mods like the 556 collection and the Mistress Gauss pistol and a bunch of other really cool stuff that is probably in your load order right now and you don't even realize it, because that's what I see most people say about your mods is like, he made that? I've been using that for years.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
All the time.
You made that? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm the guy that made the thing. It's my favorite. But yeah, Jkruse, super awesome mod author who has some very similar views to myself and Pig in regards to a lot of Fallout modding things, and I think that's why I think he would be a really fun guest for the podcast, and that's why we're here right now. So let's talk Fallout. Unlike the last podcast, this is probably going to be a little bit more Fallout oriented.
Yeah,
but only time will
It doesn't have to be.
Well, we'll see where things go.
All right.
One thing I definitely wanted to talk about, because we've talked about it a lot on the Discord, but I wanted to talk about it in a little bit more of a YouTube public sphere, is lore friendliness in weapons. Because that is a hot button issue, especially in my comment section all the time. Anytime I bring up the word lore friendly in a video, people just go at it, and they're probably going at it right now as we're speaking in the comments.
It's a rather constant topic, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think none of us here have the exact same definition, but I think that there's never a perfect definition for it, right? Because everybody's gonna have different ideas.
The issue with me is it's not like I can't write down what lore friendly is. It's just a gut feeling. Oh, yeah, that's lore friendly.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Well, and part of it is also that we've seen sort of a change in the aesthetic from Black Isle to early Bethesda to like Fallout 4 and 76, where there's been a sort of evolution of the look of Fallout that's gone from, maybe a little more Mad Max early on, and even a little bit in those early Bethesda games, and now we're leaning even more heavily into that sort of 50s era. And even with weapons, we're seeing Bethesda's art style, and especially in Fallout 4, lean heavily towards that more World War One, World War II look, instead of the Cold War look that we kind of saw before that.
Yeah, a lot of like Fallout 1 and 2 weapons, I feel, had a very 80s, 90s action movie look because they were just making a game they thought was cool back then, and people didn't care as much, and we probably shouldn't care as much now either. But that's how it goes.
Yeah, I think some of that even carries over into 3 in New Vegas, and even just the art style in general changes so much, where everything in 3 in New Vegas is very angular, and that could just be due to the low poly assets they had then, whereas everything in Fallout 4 feels super round and kind of cartoony. But even beyond that, 3 in New Vegas feature real world weapons. Fallout 4 features 1, 2 real world weapons in the form of the Tommy gun, the Nuka World AK, I guess, if you count that. And
they're kind of halfway there, yeah.
And that's fine, because new completely mythical weapons have existed in Fallout before. We have things like the 12.7 millimeter pistol and SMG and other stuff like that. So it's cool, but Fallout 4 just seems odd. So saying that something isn't lore friendly because it's real is usually the biggest argument. Somebody pumps out another M4 AK mod and they say, "Oh, that's not lore friendly." And, well, why not?
I mean, it can be.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me, the argument that I usually throw out is that lore friendly for Fallout isn't so much about did the technology exist. It's more about, does it look right? Because we have these considerations in the lore about what materials were available and how available they were. And most of the sort of standard issue weapons we see are wood and steel. And that's not just a stylistic choice. That's actually tied into the lore because, synthetic polymers weren't really available in the sort of quantities or as easy to make within the Fallout universe as we see in modern weapons today.
Yeah.
So resource war.
Yeah, exactly. The resource wars.
Not a lot of oil going around.
Yeah. But
we have weapons like the P90 exists in Fallout canon, and it's still all plastic, but there's not exactly a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I was going to get at is people go so hard on if we're just going to stick to lore-friendly style weapons in general, as soon as a mod author throws on a plastic part, people throw a fit. Not everybody, but some people, there shouldn't be polymer parts because of the resource wars and yada yada. It's like, but we have literally existing canon examples of polymer parts on weapons. You can literally go as far back as the previous game to New Vegas, where you have things like the Assault Carbine, the Marksman Carbine, which have full polymer kits. And additionally, there's stuff in Fallout 4 that is just heavily sells that 50s cheap plastic style. Like, look at the thermal scope on weapons, and look at everything around you. There's so much cheap plastic crap. It's like, it's still out there. There's no reason it can't exist. It would be more sparse, maybe, but there's no reason that it's just not a thing. And I think people take this idea of lore friendly, and they just say, if it didn't exist, then it didn't exist. Like, if it's not in a game, then it can't exist in these games, and it's just so bizarre.
The thing is, with lore friendly, it's not saying, oh, this existed in a game, so it's lore friendly. It's lore friendly isn't canon.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's outside of canon.
Yeah, and we had that discussion kind of early on in the Discord, at least early on compared to when I joined. I don't know how long it was active before I was on there.
You've been around for a while.
But kind of early on, there was that discussion on Discord where there was this like, we need to differentiate between what canon means and what lore friendly means.
Yeah.
Canon is, we saw it in a game. It is confirmed, it exists, it's in the lore, and, well, semi-permanent. Who knows what Bethesda will retcon in the future?
Yeah.
And lore friendly is just, it fits.
Yeah,
you know,
and the thing too is like there's like a spectrum that it's on almost, where on the left side you have canon, it appeared in a game, it's right there, you can visibly see it. Then you have the actual lore, where it's anything that they've said outside, either in writing or articles or whatever, of this is still canon, but it's not maybe in a game. And then we're talking about lore friendly, not even part of the lore, but literally just it's possible. And people put such strict guidelines on what can and can't be lore friendly, and it boggles my mind.
My favorite argument about that was when you guys were talking in the Discord about Kalashnikov. Because we never seen the word Kalashnikov or anybody named Kalashnikov. So Dax over here telling everybody that Kalashnikov isn't canon. It's only lore friendly, and nobody's understanding the difference. And so we had to come down to this conclusion that, like, okay, so Kalashnikov-like weapons, AKs exist. We have no idea if AK in Fallout actually stands for the same thing, or if the inventor was the same guy. But his existence is still lore-friendly.
Yes, and people just can't understand it. It's so frustrating.
There's another example perfect for that, is the Glock 86 plasma pistol. It's a Glock. It's said it's made by Gaston Glock, the guy who invented the Glock pistol. He exists, but we've never seen an actual Glock in the games.
Not a single one?
No, sir.
Yeah, and I mean, even with like the AK thing with the Kalashnikov, people got so upset, like you said, about the whole Kalashnikov isn't canon. I also said that it's not canon. We just haven't seen it. So canon means that it has appeared and has been confirmed by the company that this is part of the universe. And being non-canon doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just means we haven't seen it. And that's where lore friendly kind of ties in. It fills those gaps of, we haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. And having not seen a Kalashnikov name on anything, I mean, it doesn't mean that he doesn't exist. Just means we haven't seen it yet. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, and it's so not important to the Fallout universe whether or not an AK has Kalashnikov printed on it. Like, it's so goofy that people they just trip on that so much. They get so caught up on it's not there, so it can't be there. And it's like, no, it can. That's where lore friendly ties in. An AK is lore friendly. There's no reason for it not to exist in the universe just because we haven't seen one. But we have seen AKs, so it's a whole thing.
And outside of just weapons, lore friendly can be a lot of things, like armors, and it can be quests. And with my stuff, whenever I'm thinking about quests, I'm thinking, could these characters exist in the universe, and could their actions make sense in their backstories and everything? Does it all fit? That's what's important. Does it fit in universe? Lore friendly isn't, oh, it was invented before World War II, so it exists. It's, Divergence has nothing to do with it.
Oh boy.
Divergence is a completely different topic we might get into.
I was waiting for it.
Lore friendly is not a time period. It's an aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's
And one of the
visually
things
fits.
that I really love about Fallout London upcoming is
Mhm.
that the entire mod is just a practice in that sort of that brainstorming process of what fits as lore friendly, because we have almost nothing in canon on Europe other than that the resource wars happened and they fell apart.
Mhm.
But as far as like
civil war, but yeah,
as far as like factions that existed or technology level on the other side of the ocean, we don't really know.
Tenpenny says it's not very good over there, and that's about all we
That's
hear.
about it,
Apparently,
yeah.
Tenpenny is going to be in Fallout London.
It's
Oh,
big.
really?
It's a big deal. Big plot point.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like Tenpenny himself or like his family?
It's because the game is before.
Yeah, I don't.
I had
So
not heard that.
maybe our actions make him run away to DC Wasteland and be
It's
like,
possible.
That's a cool tie-in.
Yeah, I know that I'm pretty sure the character is in it, but at the very least, his family and company and name and everything is included, and it's going to be a major part of the story. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah, that will be.
What's the dates on the Resource Wars when all the polymer and all the oil yada yada? Do we
2050s to the 2070s?
So
something like
how are people using this as an excuse of you can't have polymer on your parts because of the Resource Wars? It's like, okay, well, I just made a gun from the 90s.
Yeah, the thing is, with me is if it's old production, sure, that works out. But if it's new production, I wouldn't see it. Like I wouldn't see the U.S. military still issuing M16s with polymer parts. The assault carbine, I believe, is just old stock, which makes sense.
I think
they
that's,
probably
100%. It's an old weapon that's just people have dug up and found in all of these stockpiles, and of course they're going to use it. They found it. They're going to use that gun.
But
we
like
militaries,
they wouldn't have just current issue polymer stuff. They would have steel and whatever's cheapest just throw at the Chinese or the Chinese.
Which is what we see with like the R91 and laser weapons. They're all solid steel, basically.
Yeah, the laser weapons. I'm not sure what the main blocky housing. People think it's polymer. I think it's a coated, like it's like a thermal coated thing. In my opinion,
like the green section on the barrel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you could get a good look at the textures, if you could kind of look at the metallic layer and see what shows underneath the scratches and stuff.
It looks plasticky to me. We could also just look at the weight of the whole thing, just try to calculate. But I mean, that's all just
and given
semantics.
How Institute stuff are like made out 100% plastics.
Oh yeah.
But we might be able to say that it's like a special thermal coating around a heat shield kind of dealy for the crystal matrix.
Ceramic.
Drop it and it explodes.
That makes sense though for the heat of a weapon like that, for it to be ceramic.
Yeah. Touching on Divergence because we did bring it up.
Oh, timeline.
Before we go super hard into Divergence, just what you were saying earlier about how, like, lore friendly isn't about timeline. It is a teensy bit in the sense that, like, obviously anything we don't have this history because this history does not exist yet, but anything produced after 2077 probably wouldn't exist in a Fallout game, but we haven't gotten to that point, so we don't know. But that being said, anything pre-2077 is technically fair game. And it comes to that thing again of, like, just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Fallout's weird because some things are completely different from our universe, but some things are mirrored exactly. We still have the development of Colt and other rifle companies, and not just weapons, but it's just the easiest example because we have a lot of brand names used in Fallout.
Right. Especially older ones.
Yeah.
Here's a funny one. In 76, they have weapons that are like the shotgun. It's not a Remington 817. It's a Romington 817.
Yeah, but yet back then they had Remingtons, and so it's like,
That's why I think the divergence theory is stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a hard cutoff.
No.
It's either been just slowly splitting, or it's just a completely parallel different universe that
and we have a lot of
anchor points between ours.
Canon stuff that's like this thing was established or this thing happened thousands of years ago.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
fucking Ubar, and also like Sunset Sarsaparilla was made before World War II. So what the fuck
Yeah.
are you gonna do about that?
Yeah, the Zaydens have been around for literally however long. Like it's
Yeah, because the
Yeah, the
samurai.
feudal Japan.
yeah.
Yep.
I think people need to stop getting so hooked on timelines and dates and all this stuff, and just look at the cool stuff that we have to play with and find ways to fit. And like you said, it's lore friendly is a mixture of aesthetic and timeline and all this stuff. So you take all of that and combine into a thing, and then it's just kind of a feel. Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
And if you can find a way to explain it in lore, cool. But I've seen people try to do just that with modern tactical looking weapons or armors, and they'll be like, well, there's no reason they wouldn't have it. It's like, yeah, but it just doesn't look right. And that's weird because
Yeah,
like in New Vegas, I think New Vegas is one of the more modern sort of art styles. It combines that classic Fallout 50s with some of the more gritty militaristic looking stuff like
yeah.
A lot of
Like
that more military stuff, though, if you kind of take a look at it, like the burned man's
yeah,
vest.
that's exactly what I was thinking of.
the SWAT vest.
But if you take a look at that, like that stuff existed in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, that was
Yeah.
around when Fallout was created.
Mhm.
So what I try to stick to as far as just visual design, not whether this stuff exists or not, just the visual design, is I kind of look at as for military stuff.
Mhm.
What were they being issued? What was standard issue in the 80s?
Right.
And that's kind of how I look at it. That's what informs me about, okay, does this look like it fits Fallout or not? Because the
Yeah.
80s are sort of before we were getting a standardized rail system for
Mhm.
every soldier. We weren't getting optics standardized for every soldier. We had some body armor, but it wasn't like the Molly system yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you look at sort of where we were at, you had modern weapons and you had body armor and modernized gear, but it wasn't to the degree that we see in the modern day where every single soldier has it. They're sort of more of these specialized things back in the 80s. And I feel like Fallout kind of follows through on that same idea of these things exist, they're just not for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. With me, I know I said lore friendly isn't a time era, but I kind of try to cut off what I consider lore friendly to be 1997 when Fallout 1 released.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's not you're cutting off the time necessarily, but rather that style. Everything before then kind of embodies that style of Fallout because Fallout has
Mhm.
never used super modern things, and it's just always been its vibe. But I think again, talking about that lore friendly thing, we have all of this time from the 80s and 90s up through 2077 to play with. And it's like, you're really going to tell me there hasn't been a single bit of technological advancement of any kind, you know? And so I think
yeah.
it's interesting to take some of our more modern designs. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of this in the modding scene, but taking those more modern designs and tweaking them to fit the Fallout style. Like if I ever find time to finish these stupid mods that I have in front of me, I'd love to do some more modern weapons and completely redesign them to fit that classic Fallout style, taking like a G36 and giving it all wood furniture, taking off the rails. Like, oh, that would be so cool. Like the G36 looks like such a Fallout gun, but with all the black polymer and all the rails and everything, it doesn't quite fit. I mean, it could. There's no reason it couldn't because HK
Doesn't
exists.
feel right, yeah.
It would be interesting to completely redesign a gun inspired by a certain aesthetic of another. I kind of did that with my most recent Raider boomstick shotgun.
Yeah.
And
Yo, yeah.
my old scrap or my old scrap handgun from the stealth pack. I felt was kind of a more modern-y handgun.
Yeah.
It had like sights and whatever.
Mhm.
And I felt like those kind of took ideas from modern like weapons and stuff and put them into more lore friendly
Well, and
aesthetic.
one thing that I'm surprised we haven't seen more of, both in Bethesda's weapon designs and in modding designs, are bullpups.
Yeah.
Because
Bullpups
Fallout
were
1 and 2
all
were
over
full.
Fallout 1 and 2,
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the
Um,
space agey stuff was bullpups back then.
Yeah, at the time it was like, oh, this looks cool. This looks sci-fi, you know.
Yeah, that's
Um,
why they decided to use 10mm ammo because they thought it was going to be the next big thing.
It was the
10mm
big thing at the
auto.
time, yeah.
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 The FBI was using it, and everybody's like, "Wow." And then
If
people
they're
were like,
using it, well,
"This
we
is too
gotta.
powerful," and then they made 40 Smith and Wesson, and then it was too weak. And that's the whole story. Watch the Forgotten Weapons video.
Just make up your mind.
I was just thinking about it a second ago when I was trying to like argue the whole, oh, the G36 isn't lore friendly, but when you think about the sandbox in 1, 2, and especially Tactics, I know it's not exactly canon, but that was a Fallout game that existed, stylistically. Like they're literally just modern weapons in there. Like the P90, G11's not very modern, but there's some of these more space agey weapons, polymer, really sci-fi advanced weapons, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And they were going for that futuristic feel.
Absolutely.
But there's such a difference between futuristic and modern.
And not just with the weapons though. Like if you look at the classic combat armor, like it looks like this polymer / ceramic, like not quite inspired by aliens, but kind of in that direction. Almost looks like if RoboCop's body was a suit of armor and painted green.
It reminded me of Marathon.
Yes, it totally reminds me of Marathon.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The bulbous, very funky looking. Starship Troopers too. I could see that. All of that time frame and just kind of going for the same weird style of like the future soldier armor. Like, what is it going to look like in 30 years? And they were way wrong.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it's almost like we have a term for it. It's almost like retro-futuristic is a thing.
No, what? No.
That's the main thing with the lore-friendly aesthetic is retrofuturism.
Yeah.
Big, was it you that mentioned something about cassette punk fitting Fallout really well?
Is my I love cassette punk. That's the aliens aesthetic.
Yeah, totally. But that really blends well. If you go inside the buildings and don't look at the 50s architecture, it really blends well with the Fallout sort of tech aesthetic.
Yeah. Yeah, and the weird thing too, when people talk about what fits and what doesn't, I think it's really hard when you take some of these mods and you shove them into Fallout 4 specifically, because while Fallout 4 and Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 are all part of the same canon, they all have a drastically different art style. While some things are shared, others are just so different. And like you could take the same mod, I think, and throw it in New Vegas and Fallout 3 and it works, and then you put it in Fallout 4 and it doesn't. And I think that could be a big part of it. 4 is very cartoony, I think, and so having some of these more modern tactical stuff, it looks out of place and too jagged. But you throw that same thing, like everybody's favorite mod in New Vegas was Weapons of the New Millennia, which is just jam-packed full of modern weapons, and everybody just loves it. No complaints from anybody.
I feel like the thing with that is it just added so much variety.
Yeah, it's like almost necessary to play New Vegas.
I think part of that also is the scale of weapons in Fallout 4.
They're huge.
you put in, something like I think Wasteland Melody's service rifle is based on the SMG animations. So the way it's held is sort of like down in front of you. You can see most of the weapon, but because it's those animations and it's scaled to the SMG, it's like reasonably sized, and it's a rifle.
Yeah.
But then you go to the combat rifle or the, God forbid, assault rifle, and it's twice or 3 times the size, and it's supposed to be filling the same role. So when you bring in a mod weapon, that's something that feels, realistically reasonable, and then you compare it against the vanilla weapons, it's almost instantly out of place.
Yeah. There's one thing we should probably mention is if you play with mods that we don't like, I don't care. Play with whatever mods you want.
No, that's the other thing too. We're having a big old discussion about what's lore friendly and what isn't. I think a little bit of an introduction, bit late for that now. I think it's safe to say that all three of us prefer a lore friendly aesthetic in our own games, and so that's why we're discussing what is and what is not lore friendly. While other people just don't care, and that's fine. Play with whatever mods you want, and like I see people get angry. Like I'll do a mods weekly, and I'll have one lore friendly mod and a modern tactical mod. They're like, why even bother covering that? That's not lore friendly. And I'm like, well, it's one of the cool mods that came out. It's still a cool achievement. This person made a cool looking mod. Like I don't care what it is.
Oh yeah.
Am I going to use it in my own personal load order? Probably not. It doesn't fit the vibe that I'm going for in my load order, but that's fine.
Some of those modern weapons are also coming up with like really great features.
Exactly.
Like the canted iron sights.
The canted sights.
Like that's an amazing feature that would be great ported to some more lore friendly stuff, but took somebody that was dedicated to their design that they were interested in to get that functional. And if that's what it takes, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I was really proud to see that on the Canted site video, a lot of people were like, "Yo, I don't do like modern tactical weapons," but the Canted sites, pretty cool.
Mhm.
I was like, "Yeah, it
Yeah.
is really cool. Like, it has so much potential to be applied to lore-friendly weapons in the future. Are people going to make those? Probably not, but I can dream.
Yeah.
I can dream."
And also, tactical weapons have cool animations that I can use to make a cool shotgun.
Oh yeah,
Bingo.
totally.
I mean,
So
Yeah.
yeah,
you took those from the 153, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
which is kind of.
And I think the 153 is like totally fitting for lore friendly. That gun is not too modern. Like 155, okay, hold on, but the 153 is cool.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I have small tangent. I don't like it when when we have an older style weapon mod, but it comes with like a ton of modern sights.
You know
It's
what?
a weird mix of aesthetics. I agree.
It throws me off. But I can just use a Nidar and I'm happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I get it because it can be very off-putting, and I think sometimes it's just like it's the stark difference in the gun itself, and it may not even be a Fallout thing per se, but just taking like a World War II gun, and, like I know exactly what mods you're talking about. But like I don't have a serious problem with it. I wish there was more of a mix on them, like
Yeah.
both, because I think both can
if
exist.
somebody would finish an attachment
Yeah,
pack
it would be nice if there was
more
like an open source
Fallout-style
way to get a bunch
attachments.
of sights that we could have and put on weapons.
If only that guy wasn't a lazy POS who just hasn't been working on that mod for a year now that it's August 16th.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's been a year since I talked about making the attachment pack. That's crazy.
Maybe we should just talk about the attachment pack only on the podcast to make people watch it to get updates. Yeah.
No, actually, in regards to the like using some retro style optics and stuff, I don't know if I've talked about it much on the Discord cruise, but the plan now is to break up the attachment pack into multiple mods. One, so I can get them finished faster, and two, to add better customization to the user. One,
yeah, because I think weren't you saying you were going to do like one that was more lore friendly, one that was a little more modern, one that was literally like junky?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna make all of those.
Because way back when the attachment pack started, if people remember, I was making red dots and EOTech sites and all this stuff because what I wanted to do originally was to add those modern things to the vanilla weapons in Fallout 4, so that when you downloaded a modern mod or say a retro mod that had a bunch of modern sites on it, it wasn't super out of place. You know, it just kind of bridged that gap. And then I realized, well, not everybody's going to like that. And one of the things I struggled with for so long over the year was just, how am I going to make this mod to please everybody? When in reality, you should just be making mods to please yourself, but whatever.
Yes.
But I came up with my preferred solution, which is the attachment pack is actually going to have almost no optics in it at all. It's going to be just attachments to help flesh out each weapon, add more options for each weapon to do different things. For example, right now I'm really hard on the Nuka World AK to try to do something new because I've been working on the combat rifle for so long. Give it the option to have like a stealth specific barrel or something, make it into an MG because there wasn't really options for that in the base game.
Right.
And just give it the ability to specialize into cool stuff. And that's what the initial attachment pack will be. But then going forward, I'm going to do optic packs. So the first one is going to be really simple and easy. It's going to add all of the vanilla optics in the game to all of the vanilla weapons, rather than the combat rifle can only have this red dot, or the SMG can only have this one. Actually, the SMG has none. No, it does. I don't remember. I don't use that thing. It's garbage.
It has.
But you know what I mean. The 44 has one. The 10mm is a different one, and the combat rifle is a third one. And it's like, why? They're all like they could all just use the same things. They're all on the same rails, aside from like the 10mm.
It's really interesting how the assault rifle uses 10mm reflex sights.
Yeah, and I think it's probably in their mind maybe the mounting system, if I had to guess, because neither of those have a rail.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
But the plan for the first pack is a vanilla style pack where it's going to contain all of those and a couple of slightly tweaked optics, like the one you used in your pack, the little combat optic. I'll throw that in there too. A couple little things. Then I'll do a lore-friendly optic pack, which will just have a bunch of new, completely remeshed or completely new meshes. Lore-friendly style, taking inspiration from some of the popular Nexus mods out there and some other stuff I've seen around. Some Destiny-inspired sites, because Destiny, as much as people hate it, has some cool optic designs that are unique and could have
There is a new
twist.
There's a new holographic one in 76 for the Gauss pistol you could take a look at.
Oh yeah, that one's.
I might want to do that. Yeah, I'll take a look at 76 weapons because I feel like there's a lot of good stuff there. And then eventually I'll do some modern packs too. For people that want that and who are doing a modern tactical load order but don't want to get rid of the original weapons, they can throw stuff on there to bring them up to speed.
So where are you including all of my sites that I made?
Which ones? They'll go in there.
The ones in the assault pack. Spoon.
Oh, the spoon. I'm gonna have a
bad guy.
That one may not be an optic pack. That will be. I'm gonna do a junk part pack. So, like
Yeah.
Jkruse, one of the things I fucking love about. If you can swear on this podcast, by the way, one of the things I fucking love about your weapons is you have the upgrade tiers where it starts off with junk parts and then goes to the standard issue variant and then goes on to the special ops variants, and that's just like it's perfect. It's exactly what I want from the vanilla game. It's what the vanilla game should have shipped with the idea of like I'm learning how to make guns when I upgrade my perks, you know,
Yes.
and then you just end up with the same model that has a different stat. It's like
Part of that is I really wish that we still had degradation in Fallout 4 because I would really love to tie the rate of degradation to different parts.
That would be incredible.
I think Fallout 4
even then,
on a degradation system.
Yeah, there's a couple different that sort of work. I don't think there's really one that's
working on
fully,
one too, but I don't think there's not one that's released yet. Publicly.
Yeah, that's like the same thing. Yeah, because if you look at like the R series, it has essentially two. Well, now that I add the infiltrator stuff, they're essentially like three sort of mid-level stocks, right?
Right.
And two of them literally have the same stats. The infiltrator stock has the exact same stats as the light stock.
Right.
But if I could differentiate between those, where I could make the lower tier stock, maybe have less recoil and more accurate, but it degrades super fast. And then have a higher level stock that is, more solid steel, solid wood. It's, not going to break as easily, but maybe it's, less accurate or something like that. It's just another tool that you could use to balance those parts, which would be super useful.
Having another stat is awesome. Like I've been really trying to toy with because I've been getting lazy in my mod development cycle where I'll make the mod and I'm happy with it. And then when it comes time to just put in the last few attachments, I'm just like, I'll just get them in there. Just put them in.
Man, I was going to do like 2 other sites for that whole pack that I just said I'm done.
Me with the Frama.
Yeah, I spent a lot of my time off this summer working on that thing. And at the end of the summer, I was like, maybe I should have just extended that development instead of using up all of my free time.
Yeah, I get it. Because by the end of it, I'm just like, just put stats on it. I don't care, done. But I really want to get more into like adding not only form but function as well to each attachment to make them unique and special. That's something I want to achieve with the attachment pack. And I try to do a little bit with the Frommer, like finding more stats to play with to give a reason for an attachment to exist. Like the idea of, you see a lot of mods where they just add customization for customization's sake, where there'll be 4 suppressors and 10 scopes and they all have the same stats. It's literally just aesthetic that you're picking. But having that, but also like a reason and maybe a higher resource cost as well. Like in the Frommer, I had 2 suppressors. One of them was a handmade suppressor. It was way heavier, but it did suppress the weapon. Whereas the more modern suppressor was much lighter and it gave you a boost to range like real suppressors do.
Yeah.
Video games.
I think there would be a good stat to play with would be the speed that you go into aim down sights. That might be good for like a heavier stock.
Yep.
Yeah, I think sights as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that I played with a little bit with the Range Master that I haven't really tried too much with more recent ones was the actual direction and angle of recoil. Because you can adjust that based on the aim model. And so I actually made, in the Range Master, the base weapon uses the same aim model as the combat rifle, which is terrible, by the way. It can bounce in any direction per shot. There's no consistent direction on that recoil model. So what I left that as the base one, but then as you attach a different muzzle onto it, it changes the direction or the severity. So I think it's the stupid duckbill that I got lazy and just chopped up one that I already made because it looked bad. um,
And then I
the
put it in my mod.
the duckbill will recoil directly up, but its recoil is worse.
Oh.
And then if you put on the more like sort of M16 style, I think what I call the military muzzle, it recoils at more of an angle because it's not actually put on straight. It recoils at more of an angle, but the recoil isn't as severe. So it's predictable. You know where it's going to go every time. But the other one is directly up, so it's easier to keep on target.
Right.
So it's sort of that balance between just what is easier for me to predict and keep control of.
Right.
Yeah, when I was doing the literal 10 stocks I did for my self-loading rifle, I just like did minor stat edits to recoil and whatever. I didn't really go too far
Yeah.
into it. I should have, but I really did like you could see the parts being improved with every stock I had on there.
Yeah, that was the coolest part of the self-loading rifle in that pack was like watching as you upgraded the parts, the weapon literally looked better. Like it looked more like a gun rather than a bunch of pipes, which I do appreciate. Pig.
Yeah,
The methodology in your mods is always really good.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I love the little tiny basic self-loading where it practically looks like a pistol.
Yeah, no, it's really quite fun. I tried to make it kind of make sense. I added a little tiny gas tube, like a little air gas tube onto it, and kinds of little goobins and stuff.
Nice. I forgot what got us on this tangent.
We were talking about. Oh, I don't remember either.
Yeah, no,
we talking about the attachment. We were talking about the attachment pack.
Yes.
If we go back that far, that's not even as far as I was trying to go back. But you were asking where your sites were going to go, and I was thinking, like Jkruse's mods, adding all those junk attachments. I wanted to do an attachment pack just like that as well, where there are literally you're downloading worse attachments for the vanilla guns.
Yeah.
But they'll be available at earlier levels. So like in the vanilla
kind of
game,
like a mod you get at the beginning of the game. It's
Yeah.
just a mod you do when you do start a new game.
Yeah, and some people actually just like that junky aesthetic.
And I think that would be great because it adds the low level. Like I guess we have to edit the object templates on vanilla weapons then, so it spawns with those.
Can't you just have
you can just edit the collections, edit the mod collections.
Okay. Well, I'd like to have it where when a raider spawns with a combat rifle, they don't spawn with a combat rifle. They spawn with a combat rifle with a scrap stock and like a shitty barrel.
Yep.
And like a 5-shot magazine.
You can do that with collections, just like Cruz said. You can make it for each faction too. So gunners have the more advanced military style, and then raiders will have the junky ones. That'll be cool.
Yeah,
definitely would.
We'll figure it out when we get to it, but yeah,
I think I'm gonna enlist a lot more help this time around.
Yeah, people like in comments and around Discords, I've seen mention the three of us. Like we're like the three amigos. We are the core team of cool with lore friendly weapon mods right now, and I'm like,
really?
Cool.
They're tripping because they're missing Skib and Gmoy and all these other incredible authors.
So many others.
Yeah. But around our community,
we just talk about it a lot on Discord, is why.
Yeah.
But yeah, adding those junky style attachments at a lower level, I think too would be cool because there are weapons in the vanilla game that you can go out and find static spawns of that don't spawn till way later, and you're not able to customize them at all. But what if you had the ability to? You know, like if I find the AR at the National Guard training yard, whatever it's called, and you go pick up the vanilla AR, and it's like, well, I can't customize this at all. Well, what if there was some level 1 attachments made out of literally like a ruler and duct tape? You know,
I need to use the yardstick model more.
I hate
the knuckle slapper.
I hate the idea that like I've got level 1, level 2 gun nut, but I pick up this AR and I can't do anything to it, like at all. And it's like you could do something. You could take the knowledge you've gained from working on pipe guns and apply that to the AR or whatever. And I think
that's always kind of a debate I have when I'm setting up like when parts appear is do I follow the vanilla setup where it's like you kind of get stuff at like gun nut 1 and then you like don't get anything interesting until 3 and 4. Like it almost skips a level.
No,
you don't really get anything interesting early on.
Whenever I do stuff, I do it sequentially. Like I do the first 3 receivers, nothing, next 3 level 1, next 3 level 2, or next 2. It depends on how far down I am. I always do it like that because it feels better for me.
Yeah,
I
that's
was trying to make so something gets unlocked at every level. So it
Yeah.
might not always be like sequential, like you get these receivers, but maybe you'll get, the first 3 or 4 receivers at gun nut 0 and 1, but then at gun nut 2 you get like a new barrel and a new stock or
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah, I try to take that sort of logic where I try to use all 4 levels of gun nut on each weapon. Depends on the gun, but typically, no matter which level the weapon spawns at, I try to use all the levels of gun nut. That way, the gun can level with you. Like even if you pick it up early game, there's still something to unlock later on in the line. Or even if it's a late game, you can still use some of the stuff at level 1 of gun nut. And I feel like some vanilla guns, it's like, oh, the pipe gun, everything unlocks by the time you hit gun nut 2. And if you get a late game gun, it's like nothing unlocks until pipe or gun nut 3, and it's like, well, no, you can do some stuff. Come on, like give me more.
There's got to be something there, yeah.
And you know what would be neat? Jkruse did this with his Marksmith mistress. But what would be neat is all like the high level, like advanced, like machinery required attachments could just be stuff you have to find in the world.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
That would be neat. One of the first iterations of the attachment pack, I was like, okay, I'm going to overhaul the whole attachment system, and I'm going to make it so that the attachments are actual objects that you have to get and attach. And then I realized, no.
Yep.
No.
Before myself, but
like back then it was like, okay, the junk parts will be stuff you can make out of scrap. Like if you want to make the junk reflex sight, you can make it out of scrap metal and wood. But if you want the EOTech, you got to go find an EOTech, and it's like, then I realized quickly that's a terrible idea.
Which I think would actually be a fun system.
Yeah.
But the work you'd have to put into
exactly.
It would be such a pain.
I think it would be super fun, and you could make them all use like the same misc mods. So if you pick one up, it's usable on like any weapon, maybe.
I tried to do that. I tried to do that with the R series, and I have gotten a report that I haven't looked into yet, but that some of those parts don't actually recognize that you have the misc mod. So that might not actually work, unfortunately.
Right.
But I'll look into it sometime in the future, and I'll make sure to let you guys know.
Oh, absolutely. That's another reason you're my favorite. You always give me your hot tips on modding techniques.
No, you're always helpful no matter what I'm doing.
Oh, like literally, yeah, for people who don't know and aren't on the Discord, because it is a pretty small portion of you. Jkruse is one of the most helpful people in the modding community. And I'm not saying to abuse this, but if you ever needed help, he's the guy to be like, bam, I got you. Here's everything I know. It's just like, okay. I'll try to please you.
Helpful. Even like with quest mods, I go to him like, oh, is this written well? Because he has an English degree.
I have a degree related to English.
Oh. Well, he spell checks me like my high school teacher, which is nice.
Hey, I have a degree and I speak English, all right?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, you got somewhere with your language at least, you know?
Yeah, this talk ties into the L talk where he said he had a 3D modeling degree. And he never uses. Yeah, and then you have an English degree, sorta, that you
Which
never
I
use.
basically never use. Yep. I don't
like
even use it for work.
Most degrees.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who is just leaps and bounds ahead of my friend group. He has his master's, and at my age, that is an accomplishment. He's currently working on his doctorate in music, and it's just like, man, I really hope you use it. Like, he's a very talented musician. I really hope he does put that to use, because man, like, that's a lot. It's a lot of work.
I have nieces and nephews like that are like, 10, 20 years younger than me, and they're like, I kind of want to go on to get my doctorate. I'm halfway done with my master's. Like, look at me look bad compared to everybody in the family.
Yeah.
And then I just go, I've talked to Al Chessbreach.
Oh, true.
It's so funny because I like when you look at people, like as you grow older and you look at people's accomplishments and you look at your own. A lot of times it's easy to be like, they're doing so much better than me, and then they'll come at you and be like, but you're doing it so cool. Like my core group of friends from like high school, we're all still in touch, but half of us talk every single day on Discord. We play games, whatever, and the other half I see once a year for birthdays or whatever. And when we do get in touch, it's always just like, okay, what's happened in the past year? And like, how's your degree coming? And they'll look at me and how's YouTube going? And it's always just like, they're always so like, dude, you get to play video games and work. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. But like, also you have a master's. So like, who's really better off here? But
hey, Dak.
yeah,
When are we gonna get a guest that isn't older than both of us?
never, because they're probably not worth having on.
Ooh, ouch.
Well, I want people with experience who can teach me a thing or two.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Whenever
no offense to you youngins out there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's get on. I can't even name a young famous person. I don't know. I'm an old soul.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
I can tell.
I listen to old music and I like old things. I'm not a hipster. I do wear flannel. And
Literally
I do listen to
wearing a
vinyl.
flannel, chin beard,
I'm not a
curly
hipster.
hair.
I'm just Amish.
With your brand
That's
new
one excuse.
microphone.
Okay, listen. I'm not a hipster because I'm not a pretentious asshole.
Well, we'll just drop that one there.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm sure we could find some people to argue that point, but let's just move on.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not
just a
worth the
regular-
hassle.
I'm not a pretentious asshole. I'm just a regular asshole.
Oh,
there we go. That sounds better, honestly.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask this a second ago, but we kind of sidetracked. We brought up like other really cool authors like Gmoy and Skibada, who are also super awesome and super helpful in the community and make wonderful mods. Jkruse, as a mod author yourself, I know you don't get to play the game a lot because that's usually how being a mod author goes. But what is your favorite mod in your load order that's not yours?
Favorite mod of any category?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a weapon or an armor. We've talked about weapons a lot.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what we make.
If you can't make a decision, you could pick one of each category or just...
Tell you what, to make it even better, you can't use mine or Pig's mods either, because I don't want anybody to be upset. Not like it was gonna be.
Such a disappointment.
Yeah, not like that narrowed anything down, but that makes it so that if you don't pick ours, we don't get upset, you know?
All right. Well, I think I am going to give you like 3 or so because there are a couple that I just won't play without.
Right, must-haves.
And one of those is place everywhere. Because I do actually enjoy the settlement system.
Mm-hmm.
It gave Fallout 4 a life beyond probably what I would have played it when I was still playing it before I started getting like really heavy into making my own mods. But I spent tons of time building fortresses and just like spawning enemies to attack them to see what my settlers could do.
Yeah.
You know? And so place everywhere is just essential to me for anything related to the settlement system.
Please feel free to give me more must-have mods, because that's definitely not a video I'm doing tomorrow.
Oh.
The other two that these days I don't play without are Start Me Up and the alternate start where you can choose where you start.
Continue. I definitely don't have a notepad open.
I can see just like the little white light.
These are literally all mods I have installed. It's just I never think about making a video on. It's funny.
So I use Start Me Up for my like alternate start, and then is it Be Exceptional is the one that brings back skills? Yeah. Those are basically my 3 where I always have them installed.
Yeah.
Basically don't play with it, unless I'm testing mods. I don't have any of them installed right now because I haven't actually played the game for 3 years. Yeah. But yeah, when I actually play the game, those are pretty much essential to my load order.
Well, screw it. Since we're on the topic, what about weapons? If you were to pick one, what kind of embodies that lore-friendly style that you're going for? Like, think about what you think of as your optimal, perfect Fallout 4 weapon. Is there a mod that kind of fits that bill for you?
I mean, I'm sure just as you are, I'm tempted to say Deadpool service rifle. But to be perfectly honest, like, as cool as the M16 M4 system is, like, I kind of get tired of it after a while, just seeing that design. Um.
To fill that in, Deadpool's
anything
service rifle is amazing. But I get exactly what you're saying. Like, it's another M4.
Absolutely.
Like, it's in my opinion, the best M4 mod you can download if you're going for a lore-friendly style. It implements modern sights like the ACOG and the EOTech, but in a lore-friendly way with the West Tech engravings, and it's like,
everything fits just so well. And I think
perfect.
I think part of it is how well he managed to match the textures.
Honestly, his texture work is incredible. Not just in the quality, but how he matches it, like you just said.
It matches the base game, yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're 100% correct. That's such a hard thing to do.
The little touches, like replacing the guns on the Arturo sign.
Oh yeah, yes.
It replaces. It's R91s on Arturo signs. He replaces it with M16s with that mod.
I've never noticed that in my entire life.
You've never noticed? That's
I'm gonna go look
tiny
at that.
little
That's
details.
cool.
Yeah.
You were saying Jkruse though, if you're picking a non AR-15 style platform.
Well, to be honest, as I said, I haven't played the game a whole lot, so I haven't actually used a lot of recent ones. But one of them that I had pretty frequently was Skibada's machine guns, which I think the most recent version is Machine Guns Rebirth.
Yeah.
Because one, I love the turrets.
Yes.
The like 50 cal turrets are great. But I also just really like the idea of having that heavy sort of, carried by your side power armor machine gun that isn't a minigun. I like that sort of slow, sort of classic 50 cal sort of thud, thud, thud. And even if I have it on like Settlers or a Companion or something, I just love the sort of the feel that gives off.
Yeah, that's definitely top tier. I think if you're like making a list of like top 10 weapon mods of all time, I think that's definitely on there just because of the content in that mod too. Like you said, the turrets.
Oh yes.
And being able to build them at your settlements is like, yes, something I really wish I would have done with the shoulder mounted machine gun.
Yeah.
And I may still get around to it, but I have so much other stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
Rather than go update my old stuff.
At this point, like I just track so many mods that, if I wanted to build a new load order to play again, like my list would be useless.
Right.
Because there's just too much on there right now.
Yeah, more than the plugin count. Yeah, I get you. I 100% get that. I've been needing to clean out my load order for a very long time, and that's not going to be easy. It's a mess in there. Oy. Yeah.
I have some contenders for best weapon.
Pig, we haven't talked about it. What you got?
Yes. I'm very ballistic weapons. I like them quite a bit. But my two favorite weapons ever released for Fallout 4 are the Lair and the Watts.
I thought you were going to say the Watts, yeah. But also by Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great animations on both of them. They're super aesthetically pleasing. Really
I love that Hitman made some animations for the New Vegas Watts mod that are very, very similar.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And both the mods I mentioned are based on concept art by the same person.
Who animated the Lair?
That's a good question.
Isn't
Write down in the comments below to let us know who animated the Lair.
After we Google this immediately as this is done.
Yes.
It's just what I'm doing right now, actually.
Yeah. I'm curious who made the animations, because like imagine if it was something that could be used and we could make a classic plasma rifle.
I've just been thinking about just having it as a requirement mod and doing something like that.
That would be simple enough.
I just love
I've thought about animations by Haru.
Haru's normally pretty open.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah.
Pig. Research.
Yes?
Do your research.
I literally have 5 weapons already gonna put in this energy weapon pack.
But you're the one who knows everybody.
I'm so...
I don't know everybody. I just have...
he just forces his way into every little community. It's true. I was going to talk about it on the last episode with Al, about how we like connect all these little Fallout communities thanks to Pig. He's the supply line between all the settlements.
He's the Kevin Bacon.
He's the guy with the Brahmin that's bringing all the stuff.
I get it. Kevin Bacon. Haha. Yeah. I'm quitting the podcast now. I'll see you guys later.
Big no. Anyways.
Goodbye.
Oh, he's gone. He's probably gonna take a leak. I don't know how to continue without a third person here. It's freaking me out.
Oh no.
Also, he's got mad feedback because he left his mic on the table.
Oh no.
I don't hear it that bad. It's okay. Anyways.
Nobody will know what we're talking about.
Here's something I was gonna bring up.
Yeah.
Looking at actually we talked about your favorite mods that you have. That you have in your loader, but what's the favorite mod that you've produced thus far? Like of your own?
It's always I think it's still the Rangemaster. Like the newer guns that I made, like they're like definitely my best work as far as quality.
Mm-hmm.
But the Rangemaster is just my favorite.
Yeah.
It's not exactly my first weapon because there was an earlier version of it that was a lot crappier. But I feel like I did so much on that, and for my first weapon, I feel like I did a lot of stuff that people had not done at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ability, like the changing magazine sizes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did in a really roundabout way because I didn't want to use the material swap method. But yeah, just going back to that, like I was really proud of how I modernized the design. It looks the way I want the Rangemaster to look, and I just learned so much when making it that really sort of enabled me to make everything else.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's a fun thing to talk about when you talk about like your favorite of your own pieces of work, because a lot of times it's not the same as the users. Like I'm sure if you were to ask most people, they'd probably say that their favorite is the pack you just came out with, because one, high quality, two, lots of weapons and attachments and the uniques. Like there's just so much going on in the 5.56 collection, plus the nostalgia factor of having the new Vegas and Fall 3. Everybody was just like, oh, I can't wait. Every day in the comments, I think it was the same user. It was like, okay, but when is somebody going to make an R91 mod? And I was like, it's coming. I can't talk about it, but it's coming.
Well, and that was one where I really wish I had done more research for animations before I had started. Because while I do like Cypher's animations, which were made by Haru too, actually,
right?
I really wish they had third person, which they don't. But if I had actually done some research ahead of time, I could have built the weapon to fit War Daddy's MP5 animations. Which might have been mildly awkward, but to go back at this point, I'd have to redo the entire thing. So
the G3 collection originally used War Daddy's 5 collection, so they got improved. Yep. I'm back, by the way. I came back.
Yeah, you came back.
I got a glass of water. It's got a.
I saw the Green Man on it. Yeah,
it's got Hulk on it.
It matches your room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, no, I do know. I was gonna say I don't know what people would pick as their favorite mod of mine, but if I had to guess, it'd probably be the MG, the assault rifle replacer, because it's I think my most downloaded mod, and also one of my most viewed videos.
Oh yeah,
and it got on
there are other.
Hey, Deck, did you know that got on the GameSpot? Did you hear that it got on the GameSpot video?
Did I?
What's the count now?
Yeah.
It's in the 20s.
No, I definitely see that one. Like everywhere, people are talking about how do I replace the assault rifle or what do I replace it with? Like it's always Dax replacer.
Yeah, and all I think is like as the guy who made it, I'm just like I could have done that way better. And like I kind of want to, but like for me, my favorite I think is the skewer. Like that was so much fun. It was one of the first. It was the first standalone weapon I did. It's super unique. Like I love the skewer. I made the goofy video climbing the tower.
I still love the stop sign shield on it.
So good. The stops. I'm gonna make more use out of that asset soon.
Yeah.
Little melee pack I want to do.
Someone asked me for my top 5 of my guns that I've made. I did Tinkerer's Ray Gun.
Yeah.
The Handmade Bullpup. The Raider Boomstick.
Yeah.
The Scrap Handgun. And what was the other one?
Autoloader.
It might have been.
That's mine. I like that one a lot. Yeah.
Honestly, your own list pretty much matches all my favorites from your packs.
The 44 autoloader is incredible. Tinkerer's Ray Gun's incredible.
Yeah. I'm thinking about including the Tinker's Ray Gun in the energy weapon pack and just doing like a complete scrap energy weapons overhaul for the game with that.
That would be
Because there's
cool.
some additions I want to do to the Tinker's Ray Gun. Like, I learned that pipe rifle animations, you can make them full auto, and just the cylinder spins freely. Just
Really?
The pipe revolver,
it's
yeah.
fucking
Huh.
awesome.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, and I think it would look great.
I'm really.
I actually
Go ahead.
one of the things that I've been considering is doing my own like remesh of the pipe weapons. Because one of the things that I really want to do is make so when they're in pistol form, they get smaller, a lot smaller.
The issue,
Like,
the issue I had
cut them back.
with that was with my the restored revolver. You may notice that it is oversized in the player's hand.
Mhm.
It's like a child holding it.
I thought
Because
it looked
was trying
fine.
to lining up with pipe revolver animations isn't the same as lining up with
Mhm.
regular revolver animations.
Yeah,
that was the
yeah.
primary issue I was running it with too. So the grip was like kind of bigger than your hand.
Yeah, I noticed the hand kind of clips into it a little bit.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
kind of a pain to line up. I'm also not really happy with how I did the hammer. It's just I didn't really know what else to do.
It came out fine. Jkruse,
See,
the resizing of the pipe pistol, you were just saying. What
So
if you did your technique that you did with the advanced plasma and made them separate? As in, pipe pistols and pipe rifles are now two completely different weapons instead of
well, I kind of like the idea. So there was a time which, I mean, if I keep developing for a while, I might get around to it. But there was a time when I was planning like this whole arsenal overhaul. And one of the things that I wanted to keep in about the pipe weapons was their modularity.
Okay.
Because the idea behind the overhaul was going to make so weapons felt a little bit more like sort of Fallout 3, where they use a specific ammo and they have a specific fire rate. They're either semi-auto or automatic or burst if I could figure it out.
Well, 6 has a
and then all the attachments and stuff would be focused around, well, do I want this to be more close range? Do I want this to be more long range? Do I want a higher rate of fire? Do I want it to be more controllable? Just sort of adjusting the sort of core attributes. But one thing that I wanted to keep about the pipe weapons was that ability to turn them into other things, because it would make them unique from the rest of the weapons within there. But kind of what I've been thinking as far as the remesh is sort of just chopping off the front right in front of where the bolt goes. So the barrel is just this little tiny snub barrel that's just barely in front of the magazine. Because it would be similar to the remesh they already have that adjusts where the barrel is, so it puts the barrel down below.
Yeah, your tweaks is pretty good.
So then when you have it as a pistol, it would be this really short thing. Instead of sticking out, a foot from your hand, it sticks out maybe 7 inches or so. And then when you attach a longer barrel to it, or when you attach a stock, I was going to use probably the material swap method to make so a foregrip actually appears.
No, you could probably just have the stock be both the grip and the stock on the front.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah. Well, I'd have to do something with the barrels though, because I what I don't want to do is have the thing where the foregrip is sticking out in front of the barrel. So I'd have to do like the short barrel sticks out just a tiny bit when you have it as a pistol, and then when you attach a rifle stock, like the barrel suddenly gets longer, so it actually fits.
I wonder if you could put like a barrel extension on the stock itself and then add a node on the end of that.
That's what I was gonna say.
Maybe.
Yeah,
that might work.
Yeah, instead of the node being on the receiver, it would be on the stock instead.
Which might work, might result in weird behavior. It'd be something to experiment with.
I think with moving parts, it would result in weird behavior. I know Pig had that issue with like magazines and stuff, but
because I didn't know what I was fucking doing.
But I think if with a stock and a barrel, which are both just static parts, I think it would be fine.
Yeah, it might be.
And it could be worth some experimenting to figure out some new methods for moving stuff around. That could be pretty neat.
Definitely.
Yeah. Could fix an issue I have with the combat rifle right now. Terrible,
and
terrible gun.
I also figured out, which I shared with you already, but that you can use different attach nodes, but with the same attach keyword within the creation kit.
Yeah.
So you can do some interesting stuff. That's how I actually did the. So if you've noticed on the R series, the integrated suppressor doesn't highlight when you're editing it. When you go to put it on, it doesn't actually highlight like the other muzzles, and that's because of that, because it's not recognizing the node. It works fine. It just doesn't highlight in the menu for some reason. It's because it's set up like that.
I don't think I ever noticed because I have the mod on that removes the highlight. Yeah. Interesting though.
Yeah. So there's some like little oddities with the engine, like not recognizing things when you start to do weird stuff with attachments, but it works. I think the other weird one that I run into is when I use keywords to hide parts. So I have a couple mods where it's like this menu of attachments won't show up until you put this other attachment on.
Right.
And the way I do that is by actually having the first attachment add and remove keywords from the weapon. But the CK always reports those as errors because they're a keyword that's not supposed to be used like that. But it works. It doesn't break anything. Just the creation kit doesn't like it.
Sorry.
What
I got my dog is over here being super playful. He's rolling around and growling at nothing. What are you doing, bud? You crazy?
Well,
I'm sure.
I'm
thinking of all of the people who have no idea how to make mods, and they're just like, he said a lot of words right now.
okay, I have something to say. If you're listening to this and you are like, oh, I'd like to make a mod, but I don't know
how to. The Radioactive podcast does not condone anything being said by Big currently.
Give up. You can't make mods. No, not at all. What I'm saying is, if you want to make a mod, if you feel like you have something you want to make, if you have an idea, just fucking do it. When I started, I was just like, I guess I'll just make a mod today. And I opened up the CK and I just started doing things.
Yep, that's how you make every mod since.
And that's how I've just been doing things, and somehow most of them work sometimes.
Bingo. Exactly.
They work part of the time, all the time.
And then you scream at your computer whenever you do the same thing over and over and nothing fixes itself, and you yell at Jkruse and you say, "Can you I've given up. Can you just take a look at it?" And in 2 seconds he gets it back to you. He's like, "Here it is, it's fixed." And you cry. And you say, "That's what I did." But that's what I did. And he said, "Yeah, well, I did it better."
Yeah. But if you want to make a mod, just get the CK, open up YouTube, watch some tutorials, just start making stuff, man.
You want to make a mod, call 1-800-555-TAKE-MY-MONEY, and we'll get that mod for you right now. Anyways.
We don't do mod commissions, no.
Yeah, if we're on that track for the moment, a couple of recommendations I can make for like beginning mod authors. One, like, just dig into the creation kit and look how similar stuff works. Look at what keywords are used where. Look at all the different files that are related to the same thing. One of the big things with weapons is that there's like 3 different types of files for every attachment, so you kind of got to see what each one does.
Yep.
So just sort of dig in and start looking at where things are. And then
keywords are your enemy and they're also your ally.
Yeah.
You like, why does the animation not work? Because the keyword's right. Why does the animation work? Because the keyword's right. It's a pain. Dog time.
Yeah.
And if you want to do weapons, my suggestion is to start by just doing a couple of attachments as practice for something vanilla or for a weapon you like. Even if you don't release those, just figuring out the structure and how things actually work is going to be a big boon for when you actually try to make a full weapon. That's why the first thing I made was AARP.
Yep.
For Fallout 4.
Still great.
Which is compatible with DAX. Machine gun replacer for the assault rifle. So if you want extra parts to use with it, you can.
Unless you're any standard Nexus user.
But that's what I started with was I had done Blender and 3D modeling quite a long time ago, and I decided I kind of wanted to learn it again. So I spent time figuring out everything all over again. But I started with something kind of simple and easy so that I wouldn't sort of get overwhelmed and quit, because I really wanted to go further than I had in the past.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I started with the attachment pack. When I very first started, I was like, I'm just going to make a couple of sites and it'll be cool. And then I ended up giving up on that and making the skewer.
Fair warning, don't make, what's the saying? Your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get over your head. Just start slow. Take it one piece at a time.
The biggest tip I could give is somebody who started modding recently and is still, I would call it pretty much novice. So many people are like, hey, I want to start making mods, and I saw you just started making mods. What do you suggest? I'm going to make this gun with all these crazy features and custom animations. And I said, don't.
No.
Just start small. They said, no, I'm going to make the new model. I'm going to make new textures. I don't even have Substance Painter, and I'm going to animate it too and add a quest for it. And I'm just like, no, stop. Just that's your magnum opus. That's what you build towards. Right now, I need you to go out there and get me 30 cubes with different amounts of faces on them.
Yes, yeah. And every time someone comes to me and is like, well, your quest mods are great. I want to make a crazy new world quest mod where you go, there's a faction conflict and you do this and this and this. And I'm like, slow down. Make a note quest mod. Make a bounty mod. Make something simple. Just learn the basics.
Oh, man. That quest made for the mistress.
It's okay. It would be better if we had, like, the area search markers that 76 has for
that would be great. Yeah,
but yeah, no, I am not comfortable doing my big DLC that I have planned. I put it on the back burner forever, because when I do that, that's the last thing I'm going to do. When I have accumulated all of my knowledge from everything I'm doing, I'm going to put it all towards one magnum opus, and that's going to be it, and then I'm done, and I'm going to go out into the woods with my cats, and I'm never going to return, and you'll never see me again, and I'm going to become a hermit.
Sounds like a Gunner outfit pack.
And then I'm you know?
Okay.
I think he was doing a bit. I think he was doing a bit with his mic there.
Well, it was supposed to be funny, like you were muting me, like, because I said something.
No, you did not sell.
Okay, well, I was going to say that I'm going to go out again.
Oh my god, he thinks he's funny. Anyways,
bad bit. Are you sure about that?
Please, commenters, tell me which is the worst bit, me muting myself or me walking away and getting a glass of water?
Which one's worse?
Yeah, which one's worse? Dak will do a community poll after this is uploaded.
I definitely will. What? Whoa.
Yep.
What? That's my fault.
Okay.
Pulled out my headphone.
What was happening for a second there? There was two of me's. I didn't like that.
It was, by the way, advice for you mod users out there. You there can be two of Dak. You just got to download the companion mod.
Don't download
true.
That. It's not a good mod.
It's terrible. I made it. It's awful. I don't know why I.
It was a stupid meme. It was just a stupid meme.
Yeah. People constantly give me shit like, why is it bad?
Why is this mod bad? It's like it was supposed to be.
I don't know. I got some Substance Painter practice out of the deal, so.
Yeah, that's
you made
true.
the cool camera.
Yeah,
that was the first thing I did in Substance Painter.
Oh, really?
And it looked great still.
Yeah, it looked great.
And my Substance Painter work looks.
You just gotta practice.
I still need to.
Yeah,
me too.
When I get the submachine gun from the Mr. Man's right here, I'll get more practice.
Hey, that's a topic right there.
Yes.
You did your big old 556 pack, which is at this point I think one of the biggest mods you've made. You've been working on it for freaking ever.
Oh yeah.
And what's next?
8 months.
What's next after that?
Next? So for right now I'm kind of taking a break.
Of course.
The plan for the next few months is to sort of patch up some of my old stuff. I have a few fixes that I need to do, both to support some other mods, just to make sure they're more compatible, but also like I want to go back and redo textures for a couple of them now that I have Substance Painter. So like the sawn-off shotguns, I want to redo those textures. and maybe the range rifle. So I'll be doing a little bit of sort of those little kind of patches and stuff like that.
When I was
I have
going
some
through parts
little
through the range rifle to scavenge stuff for my shotgun and other stuff, I like the duck build with the textures there.
yeah, well, that's some of the earliest textures I made, so and that was when I was doing everything through GIMP and just using like textures from textures.com to
textures.com is great.
The before times.
My favorite website.
The before times.
My favorite website besides
oh my god. Yeah. Yeah.
You can all insert whatever website you want Pig to have said
you
there.
need to pick a thing that you're actually saying and then mute that.
Oh, okay.
So rather than just moving your mouth, like if you were to say like, insert actual website, say that, then mute it, then we can try to piece it together.
Oh, okay. So if I said
I saw .com in there, but he's still going, so I don't know.
Really long.
Yeah, I think he added a forward slash. Anyways, I'm glad
I said www.com.
Nice.
Oh my god, what are we talking about?
Okay, sorry. Okay, back on topic. What's your future projects? Besides going back.
So I do have a couple of sort of small things that I want to do. Like some of the new attachments, like the lasers, I want to make like universal. So I'll probably have like a really small attachment pack that'll literally be like 3 things. And then
leaning towards our microphones.
I want to steal those.
And then you absolutely can if you want.
Yeah, maybe we should just put those in the attachment pack.
That's something I was going to suggest. I was going to suggest maybe we just take them for the attachment.
Just fine.
Then he doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, it'll be easier that way.
But then I'm working on some of the classic energy ammos, like making models for them. So the idea is to just have. Oh yeah, well, if you need the SEC or the classic microfusion cell, let me know because those are basically done.
Yo, we need to make an M1 Garand that uses SEC instead of the clip. Little pain.
Yeah. Somebody kind of working on that.
Yeah, more or less.
Somebody made it with a big fusion cell, but I think the SEC fits more with the shape of the cartridge.
Would fit well, yeah.
I just realized the perfect gun I want to make. Combat shotgun animations with the classic microfusion cell.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be best.
Yeah, and the model that I made is scaled really well. It's roughly scaled to the HMR magazine, more or less. So
I think I could figure that out. If I don't do it, people will give me a hard time because I've mentioned it now.
I've thought about doing something similar, like a laser assault weapon that you slam a fusion cell, but mag style. You just yank.
Well, yeah, that's the nice thing about the classic fusion cell, is that it is sort of magazine shaped.
Yeah.
The guy who did the add-on to the Thompson mod that added the for NRCW, I really liked how he did the magazines.
Yep.
Like the stacked fusion cells. Yeah.
Exactly what I had in mind. That
was a good idea.
Pretty. Quite clever. That man.
Clever.
So yeah, I'll be working on that. Basically, just trying to get so there are assets for people to use for all of the different energy weapon ammo types that we have seen previously. And that'll really just be. I don't have anything specific planned as far as using them. That's basically just going to be an asset for other mod authors to use.
Cool.
Speaking of assets, I should probably throw that Spaz 12 stock your way deck that he made because I'm the only one who has it.
Yeah, go ahead and share that stuff around.
But yeah, I mean we have the homebrew.
Figure it out.
In there.
That thing was originally going to go on the R series.
Really?
Yeah. Because I was trying really hard to come up with a folding stock when it was using the HMR animation, so it still had the left side bolt. I was trying to come up with a folding stock where the weapon could still work while it was folded.
I have
and that was like the best I could come up with.
Yeah, if I had known, I have a mesh for an AK underfolder I made way back. Just go right underneath. Bloop.
Yeah, no, that would work since the the R series is based on the old set made in G3, which is I think they had design lineage to the MP40, which was the inspiration for the AK Underfolder.
There you go.
Yes.
It just works.
It just works.
He said the thing. Got him.
Ooh, Todd Howard.
Oh
What
my!
happened to Toddbot? Why is he dead? Why'd you kill
People don't
Toddbot?
get that joke because they're not in the Discord. At this point,
Well,
more
maybe
people
they
have
should
watched
join.
the first. No.
No.
It's a bad place. It's a bad place. You don't want to
Hell
be
on
there.
earth.
Nothing good comes from the Discord.
Unless you enjoy pain.
It's true. People do that.
How many times have the Fallout 4 channel and the general channel been
I don't know what you're
replaced?
talking about.
Uh,
That's been there from the start.
mm-hmm.
From the very
It's
beginning.
always been the
There's
21st channel.
records all the way back.
It's always been General 21. It's
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But going back as far as like bigger projects, I for my next weapon, and I don't know when this will be. I might do something else first before I do another weapon. But right now, sort of the three options I'm looking at are something probably either a machine pistol or an SMG with a reciprocating barrel, just because I think it sounds fun.
Ooh.
A SMG pistol pair, because I don't want to do a custom ammo without having more than one weapon to use it.
Yeah.
That would be sort of a Flachet SMG. So the idea is that the ammo would be like this sort of triple Flachet thing. So every shot is actually 3 shots. It's just like low damage, high rate of fire.
Like
so
the Spew program.
Something like that.
So the pistol SMG pair, what's the custom ammo?
The Flachet thing.
Oh, okay, that's the same mod. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the last option is to do a Institute themed cryo weapon. So there's actually more of a reason to use those cryo cells other than just the cryo.
I'd be very curious to see your style on the Institute. So that would be a cool one. And I know that you had talked about your big grand overhaul of the future. I remember you wanted to do some cryo stuff for the Institute, and I do think that would be a super, super cool thing.
Yep, and that was the thing that sort of evolved. Originally, when I had came up with the idea a while ago to do cryo for the Institute, I was literally just going to overhaul the existing weapons to use a different ammo type and a different projectile. Because what I want to do is have a small version of that ice shard spell from Skyrim.
Yeah.
Where it's the big ice spear. I want to do like sort of a micro version of that for the projectile. So originally I was just going to figure that out and swap out the existing Institute weapons to use something like that.
That would be cool.
But I have a more unique design that if I decide to do that one, or
yeah, you showed me the concept art.
Yeah, there's some concept art. Which Dak, if you want to see, let me know. I can show you that. But it's not getting shared publicly until I actually decide to do it.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it goes in
the artist is very talented.
That artist is the same one that designed the Marksman's Mistress. Yes.
Gotcha.
But there are a couple other things that I kind of want to try, so I don't know if I'm going to get a weapon immediately. I've had this idea kicking around to try and make a slingshot for Skyrim for a long time.
Yeah.
I kind of really want to try, so I might experiment with that. And I really want to figure out how to weight and rig things to do armor. So I might try doing like some helmets or something like that. Just to learn.
Yeah.
So it may be a little while before I actually do a full weapon. So.
I've heard that animations in Skyrim is a pain in the ass.
Well, I don't actually intend to animate it. The intention is to use the bow animations. And I think I have a decent idea of how it's going to work. I just need to sit down and actually experiment with it.
As cool as the Skyrim slingshot would be, I think that a slingshot in Fallout 4 would be a super fun, goofy weapon. Because Fallout has always had, like, the BB gun or the paddle ball and stuff like that. A slingshot with custom ammo where it's like flinging fusion cells at people and they explode on contact.
Yes.
Like, oh, that'd be so cool. Call an animator. Call somebody. Who?
Yeah.
Who do we call?
If there's an animator out there who wants to animate slingshots,
where'd the Rizzler go? That would be super cool. Oh my god. Like, that would be super, super cool. Gmoy would do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
but he
Actually,
would.
I really want to have Gmoy on. I want to see what they're up to next because I haven't seen anything
Oh
since the
man,
Gauss pistol. I'm really
Yeah,
everything
he
Gmoy
kind
puts
of
out is
yeah.
amazing.
Everything Gmoy puts out is
was
like
fine.
talk about lore friendly style. Like
That's one of those things. Like as a mod author, I'm 90% self taught.
right.
So there are times when I feel like I'm sort of trying to fill bigger britches than I can,
Mm-hmm.
because there are
Yep.
people like Gmoy out there, or AzXaz, or
Mm-hmm.
even Skibata, who doesn't really do much for animations, but his models and textures are so amazing.
Yeah.
Or Nihir, these people that I'm like, I wish I could do everything that you do.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll get there eventually, but it's not going to happen anytime soon.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of dedication and just a lot of
Mhm.
practice and research and learning and intelligence that I just do not currently hold.
Yeah,
And
and the,
having
yeah,
access to tools because
true.
Bethesda can't use a normal format for anything.
Yeah, having any access to 3ds Max anymore is just like difficult. As much
Yeah,
as I've tried and have had people who are willing to teach me to animate and get into these more advanced techniques, and I just can't get a hold of that wonderful tool that we need
yeah.
because
Actually,
hmm,
what's funny, the very first mod I attempted to make for any game was for Command and Conquer Renegade. There was, at the time that game was out, there was this like special version of 3D Max that was out called Game Max or something like that. And the idea was that it was going to be this sort of like kind of universal editor for a bunch of different games at that time. And CNC Renegade was one of them, and I happened to own that game. So I was like, I'm going to make a multiplayer map.
mm,
And I wanted to do this thing where it was on this like floating anti-gravity platform, and like each team had a base on either side of the platform, and the platform was just this huge disc turning. So when you walked out on the battlefield, you were on this moving platform the entire time you're fighting. I was like, I'm gonna see how many people I can get sick.
yeah,
But that involved animation because I had to animate that
hmm
disc by keyframes to turn around. It was literally 2 keyframes. It wasn't exactly complicated. But the first mod I tried to make involved animating, and I haven't done any since.
yeah. Animating hurt my brain.
Yeah.
That map concept is interesting to get on a little side tangent here. I'm sure Cruz, you like Halo, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and in Reach when they came out with like one of the first crazy Forge editors where you can make all the maps and all that fun stuff. It reminds
Mhm.
me, I made a map that was just a really standard shooter map. Like I tried not to make anything special. It was just a shooter map, but the whole thing was on a 45-degree angle. And what I did was I enclosed the entire map in a cube that was also on a 45-degree angle, so you couldn't orient yourself with the environment around you to figure out which
Oh
way is right
boy.
side up. And so if you aligned your character right, it looked like you were just walking forwards, but the second you started to turn and move, everything just gets so weird. And like
Oh, that's great.
yeah, and looking at the tools that are coming out for what Halo Infinite's going to have for Forge, I think you could easily make the map that you were just talking about. No animations required because they're going to have all the tech built into it where you just
Yeah, scripting stuff.
yeah.
Well, that's actually that's kind of where I got started modding was map making.
Yeah.
My earliest mods that I actually released um, were actually for, well, technically for Gary's mod, but for Half-Life 2 for Source. I used to make maps for that. None of them were particularly good, but
Mhm.
they're out there somewhere.
I'm going to find them. I'm going to find them and play
Yeah.
them. Yeah. We played some
Or
TTT recently. It was pretty fun.
yeah, I was there,
You
and
were
all
there
my
for one of
textures
them.
were bad.
Oh, because you don't have Source.
Or
Well,
no,
there's
it was just I had just installed Gary's mod, and then everything did look good because I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
I actually, one of them that's out there somewhere is a theater that I actually made for a presentation in college,
Yeah,
which
that's
was
cool.
kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Pig,
Um,
speaking of making maps, Pig, you're working on a new world space, aren't you?
Kinda. I'm always working on something.
Yeah. How was that going? I haven't heard about that
Um,
one in a while.
my current mod is Brothers in Arms Redux. This gang.
Yeah. Is that with the
So
world
my
space?
original. No.
Oh.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
it's a new interior at least, right?
It's got a couple of cool new interiors. Yeah, I'm working on the bunker. I asked Mr. Colonel Mustard for some cool tips and tricks on how to do cool bunkers.
Hmm.
He's the guy behind
Yeah.
Lima and whatever.
Oh,
Mhm.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said, use a lot of mist and use cool lighting. I said, thanks. That's your hot tips. Use a lot of mist and use cool lighting.
There you go.
All you
Yep.
need.
So yeah, I'm working on that right now. I'm just I'm doing what I always do while I wait for voice actors to work on good mod,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know? So
Yeah.
it'll be out when it's out, and then I gotta work on 10 billion other projects. Like
Yeah.
I got part 2 of that mod, and I got a mod where I want to do like a Robco research bunker with some robo brains, and one of them is Robert House's schizoaffective disorder brother. So it's gonna be about
What?
robo brains with mental illnesses, which is gonna be fun. It'd be so fun to write that and not try to hurt anybody's feelings. Can't wait for that.
Mm.
After that, I have Stag Island, which is gonna be you get kidnapped by raiders and you gotta do a prison escape.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
And then I got my high spot I gotta do somewhere in there too.
So is that
And
prison
I gotta do
escape
the
going to be
reserve
sort of
mission.
a more advanced version of your old Halloween mod?
Yeah, Halloween mod bad.
It really wasn't that bad. Had some
Okay.
glitches.
Yeah, well,
I
it's
definitely didn't
bad.
have to restart it 3 times.
Okay. So
It's all right.
I'm not gonna. Okay, so there's a reason that
Mm.
and my first mod are hidden. It's because of drama that I've spoken about privately
Mhm.
that
I
I'm
knew
not gonna
that.
speak about on a podcast.
Yeah. So
Yep.
don't speak about it.
Like
The funny,
glossine.
the
Yeah.
funny thing is
Oh,
the
here's
person
a
that in.
teaser. Look at.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about it now. Then talking about it.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. Well,
since we're all talking, go ahead.
small, tiny thing about it. The funny thing is the person the drama involved decided to rejoin my Discord a month or two ago, and I immediately.
Oh, are we doing this again? We're doing the bit again.
Wait, no, it just cut out. No, no. No, no, it just cut out. Okay, it actually did. No, he joined my Discord. I don't know why he might have wanted to get back in contact or something. I just immediately banned him.
Yeah,
Just
that's
banned.
yeah. And
That's
people
probably smart.
people DM me on Discord and say, "Why did one of your moderators ban me from Discord?" And I say, at this point, I don't know. It was probably Pig for some reason that I couldn't explain to you.
It'd be funny. It'd be fun. No, I haven't actually banned anybody besides bots and besides people with like
Right,
Nazi
Pig.
profile pictures.
I got you. You haven't banned anybody.
I don't think we've seen anyone get permanently banned.
Well, the thing is, I've timed people out because it's funny.
Of
But
course
then
you have.
I wait a minute and then I untime them out.
Or you forget to, and then they DM me a week later and say, "And why am I still timed out?" I go, "I
Oh
didn't know
boy,
you
Pig.
were."
Well, yeah.
Pig's a little reckless.
So,
It's
I'm a
all
chimp
in the
with
sake
machine
of
gun.
yeah.
Dak, your next project is the 5mm machine pistol, right?
After the attachment pack is my focus right now because I've been
Yeah.
promising it for so long. But the next gun is the 5mm SMG, which should be a lot of fun. I have some cool new animations in store for it. What?
Ooh.
And
Oh boy.
Fun.
I'm trying to make it a little bit more basic, but with fun features and is unique and cool. And hopefully it's
I'll
cool.
help.
Yeah,
I'll help.
yeah, I'll steal things.
Next roadmap is gonna be we're gonna do the melee pack we gotta do
Hey,
eventually.
spoilers, jeez.
And we
Can't give
also
out all
want to
these
make
good
a
ideas.
we want to make a 22 pack eventually, or at least I do.
Yeah, I would really like to do a 22 pack. Just to add more 22 guns into the game because all we had for a while was the pistol, and
Yeah.
then now we have the 180.
The thing is, when
actually
you
a
add a
really
new ammo type,
early-
I'd like to add more than one.
Yeah. There is actually a really early 1022 pistol someone made
Oh,
in
yeah.
the first couple of years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does it use
It's
22
not the
ammunition?
best. It uses 38 ammunition.
Does it use 38?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I never used it because I was disappointed that it was not
Yeah.
full.
But it would be cool to add
1022.
some fun, like lore friendly. Like we could do the whole like aesthetic thing we wanted to do, where we could like dress up more modern 22 weapons in like
Yeah.
retro aesthetic.
No, I was trying to figure out what I'd want in there, and I know I want I don't know, because am I making, like, 'cause I was thinking that mod more than anything was for me than for like a wider audience. Like what do
No, I like
what do I want in my load order, you know? And if we were going that route, if we were gonna make it standalone, just so it survives on its own as its own mod, you add the new 22 ammunition, then I would need to cover the basics. I'd want the 22 pistol similar to that of New Vegas. I'd want some sort of an SMG and some sort of a rifle of some kind, either semi-auto or bolt action.
I think what we'd want to cover is we'd have like the Ruger pistol, like from New Vegas, then we'd have a 1022, and then we'd have some sort of submachine gun and bolt action, and also a revolver. There's our
you're
five.
going crazy. I was thinking 3, but okay.
Nope. There's our 5. And I'm doing half of them.
But if we were gonna go for 5, and if instead it was like, well, you can supplement those weapons with other mods. For example, let's say we take the 22 pistol that already exists for the New Vegas 22 pistol mod and make ours require that and use that ammunition. That's covered. There's currently a mod that takes the varmint rifle mod and converts that to 22, like an actual varmint type rifle would be.
Right.
Bam, there's your bolt action and your pistol. Then we just have to make an SMG, a rifle, and a whatever. I've had an idea for a mod. Well, sort of my idea. I don't know how much I can say about it now. Jeez. I have an interesting idea
I've already spoiled enough.
I have an interesting idea for a unique SMG that I think could be in 22, and that would be pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's one of those, you know?
After Dak made the skewer launcher, I started thinking of other options to use the missile launcher animations for.
Yeah.
And one of them I was thinking was a shoulder-mounted pistol caliber shotgun. Where
oh my god, where you just jam a bunch of pistol rounds into it and
it fires all, more or less, yeah.
That's funny.
There's a 40 millimeter grenade shell that you load like 20 rounds of 22 into. And it fires all of them.
That's pretty funny.
Something kind of like that, yeah, where it would be a whole bunch of pistol rounds loaded into sort of like a collective shell. And then you would have like 3 shotgun blasts of like 32 ammo or whatever.
If you're gonna go that route, why not just have a cylinder with like 8 shotgun shells in it, so it's just like 100 projectiles coming out? Shoulder mounted shotgun, like Jesus.
Well, the idea,
or just have
one of my sort of mod philosophies is I'm always trying to fill in sort of gaps in the vanilla arsenal.
Right.
So one of the things I always look for is there an option that uses this perk and this ammo type? So what I was trying to come up with was I want to make a heavy weapon that uses, actually it was 44 that I was going to use. And I was like, well, the only canon heavy weapon that uses 44 is I think Fido. If I remember right.
The Cyber Dog.
Yeah. And so I was like, what else could I do? So that was the idea, was it'd be loaded with like 544 shells. And you'd fire all those off from the shoulder as like 44 shotgun blasts.
Clearly the best option would be a minigun rotating giant cylinder of 44.
You could go the route even too of just having rechambers available. I mean, like you just have that cylinder, right? And you just change out the mesh of, okay, this one has a bunch of 10 millimeter rounds. Maybe that's the starter one. And then you can go up to 45 and 44s and then maybe rifle calibers. Maybe you throw a handful of 50 BMG in there. Just fires 5 50 BMG, just poof.
Oh boy.
I was pretty proud of myself.
You got a creative little brain there.
Restored revolver cylinders. I was pretty proud.
Yeah. That's
it's one of those things where you always have too many ideas.
My notepad. I pulled this up. Here's my current mods I've done versus my current mods I've want to do, and this is just a list of never will be done.
Yeah, if anyone from my community is here, there's a chat on my Discord called Project Outline, and I'm constantly adding to it 10 million more things. And they can see, this is what he wants to do. He just added 3 more weapons and 2 more quests.
Yeah, there's always
and that was
have I added Stag Island to that list? No. Oh no.
And then eventually somebody will come by and like just by happenstance do something similar to what you have planned, and it's like, well, I can scratch that one off. Like
Yeah,
I wanted to.
but sometimes I'm like, that's a good thing. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't have to bother with that. It's good to go. And sometimes like,
Yeah,
but I
'cause-
kind of like my idea.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
I could do better.
It's so different because it's like sometimes you're making mods for yourself, and sometimes you're making mods because you think the community needs it. Like you're
Mhm.
trying to fill that void. Like for me, the skewer was for the community. Here's a cool way to utilize that harpoon ammo without having to use that lame old harpoon gun. This one's fun. Whereas the combat rifle remesh was totally for me. Like people seem to really enjoy it, but that was all me. Like I wanted that for myself, and so
Yeah.
like I had the idea. Go ahead.
When I'm thinking of weapons for my scrappy weapons, is I have the issue of thinking, oh, I'm doing an explosives pack eventually. You know, it'd be cool. Pipe revolver animations. The whole barrel comes out. Slide a missile in there. Close it up. That'd be pretty cool. Sixth Messenger already did that with a grenade
Really?
rifle. The same way.
Oh, but it's not a missile. It's not a missile.
Yeah, it's not a missile.
Big, we need to talk
I think
after this.
Yeah, we need to do some cool explosive
We
weapons.
need to talk
I think
about that.
M150 has something like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I wanted to do. You were talking about ways to use the missile launcher animations. I wanted to do one where you open up the tube and just shove an entire fusion core in there. Boonk.
Mhm.
And then that's
Guess who's doing that?
a homemade Tesla cannon. Well, guess what? That's been on my docket forever. Alexerator made a Tesla cannon very similar to the classic one, not at all in terms of reload style, but in terms of overall design. And then
Mhm.
Pig's making a breach load fusion core Tesla cannon. So I was like, you know what?
Scrap one, yeah.
They're not how I would do it, but they're already out there. The community has them. I don't need to make that.
I haven't released it yet because
that's how you
it's going
do.
to be
Just
Andrew weapon tech,
Hey.
and I'm also going to put it in.
Hey, just release the weapon standalone. If it's ready.
I don't wanna because people complain about having. Oh, I don't want so many. ESPs.
Oh, that's their. They can go into Fallout 4 edit and they go click click. Now it's an ESL.
I do. Whenever someone comments, I just link the tutorial about it. We'll do it.
Yeah, like it's so easy. Like just release it because then people get to customize their load order and not have to use the whole pack if they don't like every weapon.
Yeah.
And then also more downloads for you. Win-win.
True.
Release the Tesla cannon. I'll review it tomorrow.
Okay.
No,
We'll all be waiting.
That's a
The
lie.
issue
That's
is
a lie,
I don't
not
want to
tomorrow.
put it outside of any. It has 4 attachments and they're all receiver upgrades with no vision.
So add
That's
more
the
to
issue
it.
with it.
So what you're
Put a
telling
laser
me
sight on
is
there.
that it needs more development time.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing
It's done.
excuses.
It's plus fusion cores are super goofy. Like I shoot 5 shots out of it. It doesn't take like I have the magazine be 50 fusion cores. So it doesn't 5 shots doesn't mean it takes 10 out of the 100, right? No, it takes 5.
So set the capacity to 5.
No, I don't work here like that.
Why?
It's weird because it's only the fusion core like charge is only built around power armor and the Gatling laser.
So it can only be decreased by 1% at a time.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
No matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
So you're just kind of laundering fusion cores.
Yeah, that's kind of frustrating. It'd be nice if you could do, like 10%
I mean, yeah, the
in a
reload
shot or something like that.
The reload does nerf it a bit, but nobody will notice. It'll be fine.
Like I would love I don't know how possible it is, but I'd love for it just to have a single charge. Like you throw a fusion core in and it's gonna one shot a vertibird, but then that's a whole fusion core just dead. Poof.
You could probably
just spent
do it
that.
where it just removes the fusion core from your inventory.
Yeah, there'd be a way to do single shot probably.
Yeah, with scripting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
El Scripto.
I don't need to bother.
On reload, remove item from player inventory. Yep.
Complicated, hard.
Yes.
People don't want to hear about this.
So when I'm scripting, you know what I do?
Oh my god.
I go to creationkit.com and I copy scripts from creationkit.com.
Yeah.
I just jam them together because I'm too lazy to actually learn actual
Papyrus.
Papyrus
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Is it?
That's why they're there.
Or I open up someone else's quest mod and I'm like, well, they did this, and it's kind of like what I want to do, so I'm just gonna. Don't tell them. Secret.
Well, we don't get to know because it cut out again.
Ah!
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's right there.
I did get a better microphone. I did. It's true. I got a better microphone. It's It's because I'm using the noise canceling thing and I'm leaning back in my chair.
Yeah, it's because you're going all the way
And
back there.
Yes.
It's not picking
So now
up.
I will sit right here,
Oh
and
my
this will be
God,
the rest
that's
of the
not better.
podcast. It's
It's
forehead
not better.
only.
It's
Forehead
you're-
pod.
You're peeking the audio.
Into your mic.
We wow
Pig,
yo
you're
yo
peeking
yo yo yo.
Pig, you're peeking the audio.
Well, that's a staple of the podcast. Every episode, I gotta do some shitty audio thing.
Yeah, last time
But
it was
didn't
just
you do
banging
that?
your mic on the table.
Speaking of
Jesus
staples of the
Christ.
speaking of staples of the podcast,
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Are we not there yet?
No, I
was
have
gonna
one
ask
more
you-
thing.
I was gonna ask you.
No.
I was gonna ask you. Why are you afraid of the ocean?
We did this last episode.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you gonna answer the question this time?
I don't like salt.
Oh,
I'll give you a different answer every time.
what do you think of Salt Lake City?
The worst.
Yeah?
Add that to
Salty.
the list of people that can't watch the podcast.
People from Salt Lake City. Oh, we haven't
Utah
offended
as
anybody
a
this-
whole.
Well, the Mormons are okay.
Utah.
Okay.
Are they one of the
We
square
haven't
states?
offended anybody.
Hold on, are they
No,
one of the
wait, we
square
have-
states?
We have offended. No, they're like.
Nah. Yeah, I don't like it.
Just like that, huh?
I was like,
We.
think about it, right? You think they
Yeah.
really got that straight of a line on the border when they separated the territory?
They just.
Well, I'm sure they did it when they drew it on the map.
Yeah, but
there's
that's
no
the
rivers.
map, you know?
Yeah,
like,
There's no
exactly.
rivers to say where
like
things.
I
go.
want to see the borderline. Like, I want to see.
There was a really cool map where someone redid all the states' borders based on rivers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was really goofy.
I bet.
Yeah.
That's
it
the
would
end.
be.
That's the end. That's the end. Thanks everybody for listening. That's the end of the bit. We're done. Cut
No.
the credits.
No, you know what's really
Oh.
funny is when you draw up a map and redistribute the borderlines based on population, you end up with little tiny states like this big, and then a state that's massive.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. That's not funny. This is a terrible topic.
Anyways,
I had an
so
idea.
I blame.
what do you think about the?
Oh my god, I'm so sick of this. Cruise.
Yes. Next episode, I promise, different bit.
Different.
Will it be better? No
Nope,
idea.
it
But it
won't.
will be
Probably
different.
not.
It won't.
Yep.
And then he'll forget and he'll do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh?
Is that it?
Oh.
What's that?
Okay. So, what do you think of my cool SMG concept art I made?
The one that
Jkruse05?
nobody watching this has seen.
Yes, I posted in the mod concept art on the Discord.
I'll put it up on the screen. I'm gonna put
Like
it right
3 months ago.
over Jkruse's face.
You want me to send
Until
it
I
to you?
forget
Oh wait,
to
I
do
already
that
did.
right now.
I did send it to you.
I'm gonna forget to do it.
Okay, so we just have to keep talking about it. So you skip ahead and you're like, oh yeah.
I don't
anyways, what
skip
do you-
ahead.
Okay, what did you think of that thing? The thing?
Looks like an SMG.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I'm glad this is at the end of the episode.
Well,
we are coming up on 2 hours here, so I think we'll call it.
Yes.
We are
pretty
coming
soon.
up on 2 hours here.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very
And-
happy with the models going on. I'm very proud of you, Mr.
Yeah,
Man.
it looks really cool. Pig, is that what you wanted to hear?
Yes,
your
I wanted
concept
him-
art and Jkruse's modeling looks really cool.
Yes. Anyways, what does the J stand for?
What does the J stand for? It's literally my initials. So
Wow.
that's all you're gonna get.
It stands for J.
It stands for J.
J-A-Y. That's what
We're
it
not-
is. J.
It
Big.
might.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what it doesn't stand for. Jacob. I'll give you that one.
Does it
you
stand for Jebediah?
He laughs and then
Okay,
goes
you
into silence.
get two. You get two. It's not Jebediah.
Can I get 3 or 4 or 5?
No.
Wait.
That's
Wait, 2 each?
no. Just one for each of you, and you used both of them, so Dak didn't get one.
I've used 0. I was gonna go for J. Jonah Jameson.
Mmm.
Anyways,
Hosea.
But yeah, no,
That's with
that's
an H.
just my initials and literally like the year that I made the account.
Mmm.
So nothing.
You know,
No
I really thought it
in-depth
was the year
story
you were
there.
born.
Pig, what does the P stand for?
What does the P stand for?
Yeah.
Penis.
All right, as tradition in this podcast, we got to end the video with something controversial.
Oh
Yeah.
boy! All right.
I don't know if you got to the end of the last episode, but this is the same question every episode, but with different people, so it's always fun.
All right.
This one's come up a lot on the Discord, and you should be familiar with it. Pineapple on pizza. Where are we at with the Jkruse, man? I'm gonna keep a tally, actually. So last week was a no.
No pineapple by itself, but as long as there's bacon or ham, I'm fine.
It's your podcast. You can have it. You can have a podcast.